What's up, guys? What's up? It's Toxin here. Welcome to Toxin's Portal. Today, I'm going to be talking about sleep paralysis, something I've went through a few times growing up as a kid and an adult. And I haven't really experienced much, and I would like to hear most of you guys' feedback if you've been through it or have any advice on it. But the few things I had when I was about 15 years old, I had fell asleep one night and I actually woke up paralyzed with the pressure on my chest, the typical sleep paralysis scenario. And I could move my eyes left and right, but when I looked over towards my window, it was almost like a shadowy figure in a cloak, and I had a hood on, kind of like the one I'm wearing now because it's cold outside. But it just kind of slowly turned and looked at me, and it slowly started moving towards me, and like I could make out the details of its cloak and everything. It was all black, like I didn't really have feet. It was almost like it floated towards me, and it got real close. And really all that happened was it got right next to my bed, and it just stood there for a long time. I mean, it felt like a really long period of time, like 15 minutes at least. And it just slowly put its face closer and closer to me. And like the only thing that I could really make out on the facial features, it kind of looked like Freddy Krueger in a way. Like the skin was kind of mutilated is what it looked like. It was almost like it would have been burnt. And really it got closer and closer, and it was almost like the face was blurred out. It was blurring out, like I couldn't make it out, like somebody on Cops didn't want their face shown, or a TV show where they blur the faces out. It was kind of like that. It was censored, and it just got face to face with me, and it just stared at me for the longest period of time. And then like I really just chalked it off as a dream, or just some messed up dream, because at the time I didn't know what sleep paralysis was. So a couple of years go by. I was about 22. And I was actually messing around with a few friends. We turned all the lights off, and he was going to scare my buddy when he came in the house and just jump out and yell or something, kind of scare him. And it struck up the memory of that, and I got to talking about it. When I went home, I actually did research on it and figured out that most of these people had been going through some of the same things that I had. So kind of got to put a name to it, with sleep paralysis. And then for a long time I was intrigued by that, and I didn't think I'd ever go into it again, but one night I actually stayed up for a long period of time, and I was really tired. I skateboarded most of the day, and I was fell asleep on my back as normal as they say it would happen. And I actually just really, there was nothing scary at that time. I think it was just kind of a lucid dream at that point. I really just felt like my body was lifting out of itself. Like it was, I could literally, I floated like at least 4 feet above myself, and I remember looking to the side, and like the window was right next to me, and I could see out of it. But I really feel like I just separated, and I could feel myself in 2 different places at the same time, which is really, really weird, let me tell you. Yeah, I really just felt like I was at 2 places at the same time. I remember looking down at myself laying on the bed, and like as soon as I realized that I was out of my body and I wasn't where I was supposed to be, that I was actually floating above myself, it feels like I just sucked right back into myself. And then I was real interested, and I went through a lot of meditation, and I listened to binaural beats and all that, and see if I couldn't push past the fear aspect of sleep paralysis and go into the lucid dreaming state, which people talk about. You can leave and do whatever you want to, travel the world, make up your own world, make up things that you can't do in reality. And I did that for about 2 or 3 weeks, and none of that actually worked for me. And then one night, I'd say about 3 days after I stopped doing the meditations and stuff, I was laying there, and I actually could feel myself going into sleep paralysis. Like I get this vibration. It starts in my feet and in my hands. The next thing you know, it takes over my whole body. And right before I actually become paralyzed, I hear it's like an explosion, like firecrackers in my head. And as soon as I become paralyzed, it's almost like a pulse of energy. It's just like a wave of energy flushes over me. I can almost even hear it too. It's just like a pulse, like an EMP or something, electromagnetic pulse. And what actually happened, I was like, okay, I'm not going to try to think of anything negative this time. I'm actually going to try to imagine myself somewhere outside. So I try to imagine myself out in the front yard of my house. And I remember being under a tree and looking up through the leaves and the branches into a sunny sky. And I was like, man, I'm outside. I didn't really see my body or see anything. So I think I actually astral traveled maybe, or lucid traveled, whatever you want to call it at that time. I don't know if it was really projected, because I don't remember seeing my body, my astral self, shall I say. And yeah, as soon as I really realized I was outside, I was like, hey, I'm outside. I got excited. And next thing you know, it was like I was just sucked right back into my body, and I was back in sleep paralysis, frozen on my bed. And I was like, man, the bad stuff's going to come. It's like, I don't want to see it, so I'm going to keep my eyes closed. Forgive me, my voice is cracking. It's like, I don't really want to see it, so I'm going to keep my eyes closed. And then I got the fear presence. I felt the sheer terror that comes with sleep paralysis. If you guys don't know, when you're in sleep paralysis, a lot of times you'll feel fear that is it's way more scary than anything you really go through in reality. And I just remember